Ever wish there was like a direct shortcut to understanding something complex?
Oh, absolutely.
And artificial intelligence often feels like that exact tool, you know? You ask, it answers instantly.
It does seem like that.
But what if that shortcut, well, in its attempt to be super helpful, actually ends up leading you down a narrower path than you wanted?
That's a really interesting point because AI can be incredibly useful, no doubt, but it also throws up this surprising challenge to how we actually find new things, how we broaden our horizons.
Yeah, exactly. So today we're doing a deep dive into just that, how AI, and we're talking specifically about platforms like ChatGPT here, might, maybe without meaning to, narrow what you see.
Right.
Our mission really is to unpack these subtle ways that personalization can limit discovery, and crucially, give you some practical tools, some strategies to get around it.
And we're drawing on some great insights today, aren't we? From Roberta Hill.
Yes, an experienced AI user, content creator. She writes for Wanderlust Over 70. And she had this, well, pretty significant personal light bulb moment about AI's influence.
Yeah, it really opened her eyes. And honestly, ours too.
Is it?
Roberta's aha moment, it's more than just her story, you know? It kind of mirrors a blind spot maybe a lot of us have.
How so?
Well, it's like this unspoken deal we make with AI. We often just assume it's this neutral oracle, right?
Mm-hmm.
When actually, it's more like a really sophisticated mirrors reflecting our own digital habits right back at us.
That's a great way to put it.
And she mentions, even though she's pretty savvy with AI herself, spent loads of time experimenting, even building her own AI apps.
Right. She wasn't a novice.
Not at all. But she said it never occurred to her that these platforms might be using her data, her preferences, to tailor the answers.
Wow. So that default assumption AI is just neutral info, that might be pretty common then.
I think it probably is, yeah, for many of us.
So how did she figure this out? You mentioned she had a travel story.
Yeah, it's a great example. She asked ChatGPT for the top 10 sites in a city she knew backwards and forwards.
Okay. Seems like a simple enough task for an AI.
You'd think so.
Uh-huh.
But then, she said, something felt off, just not quite right.
What was it?
A couple of her own personal favorite spots, places she absolutely expected would be on a top 10 list, they just weren't there, missing.
Huh. Interesting. So that got her thinking.
It did. And this is where it gets really revealing. She didn't just leave it there. She directly asked ChatGPT about it.
Oh, okay. What did she ask?
Something like, hey, were these suggestions generic, standard tourist stuff?
Yeah.
Or did you pick them based on my preferences?
And what did it say?
The answer was, well, crystal clear. ChatGPT confirmed it. Yes, her past preferences were indeed shaping the results it gave her.
Okay. So that's the core of it, this personalization paradox, as you called it.
Exactly, that's the term for it. It captures that tension perfectly.
So, like, on one side, that personal touch can be amazing if you know exactly what you want and you like AI suggesting things that fit your interests, maybe travel tips for seniors who love art museums and quiet cafes, then it's super efficient. It works.
Totally. It can be excellent in that case. But, and this is the flip side Roberta found, if you're actually looking to stretch yourself a bit.
Right. If you want something outside your usual box.
Yeah, if you're craving recommendations that push you just a little out of your comfort zone, or maybe show you something genuinely unexpected, something you didn't even know existed to ask about.
Then the AI might accidentally hold you back.
It might unintentionally limit you. Exactly. By feeding you more of what it thinks you already like based on your history.
It's like an echo chamber, but for discovering new things.
Precisely. And that directly affects, your desire for diverse knowledge because it's optimizing for familiarity, not necessarily for broad discovery.
Okay, so let's unpack that a bit. If AI isn't actually thinking, it doesn't know us like a friend does, how does it learn in a way that can, subtly warp the info it gives back? How does it build that echo chamber from our past chats?
Well, it's all about patterns. It learns from the patterns in your past conversations. It's not like it has bad intentions or anything.
No, it's just the algorithm.
That's just how it's designed. It's a highly sophisticated pattern recognition machine. But what's really fascinating is how these learned patterns can unintentionally skew the results you get.
Okay.
Think of it like the AI puts its attention on certain things more than others. So, for instance, you might get something called selective context.
Selective context, what's that?
That's where the model might really focus heavily on your most recent messages, your latest interactions,
Right.
and maybe ignore or downplay earlier things you said, like crucial clarifications or corrections you made a few chats ago.
Ugh. So if I corrected the AI on something specific last week, but then start a new chat today and forget to mention it again,
Yeah.
it might revert back to the old maybe wrong
It
idea.
could, yeah. It might overlook that prior context. Or think about reinforced assumptions.
Okay, what's that word?
If you keep stating a belief, maybe it's a personal bias, maybe it's even just factually wrong, but you say it repeatedly.
Uh-huh.
ChatGPT might start treating that as a fact, and then it builds future answers on top of that assumption.
So if I only ever ask about, say, 19th century novels, it might just assume I hate sci-fi, even if I never said that.
Pretty much. It infers preferences, sometimes incorrectly,
Mhm.
and then there's tone bias.
Tone bias, let me guess. It mimics how you talk.
You got it. If you tend to use, say, a lot of humor or maybe a slightly cheeky style in your prompts,
Yeah.
the model might start prioritizing witty answers, trying to match your tone. But maybe those witty answers are actually less accurate or they sacrifice precision for style.
Oh, I can totally see that happening. And I guess that ties into the preference echo thing Roberta mentioned too. Like if you always ask for bullet
So
points.
exactly, that's preference echo.
Mm.
If you emphasize specific formats all the time, give it to me in a table, use headings. The AI could try to force all data into those formats.
Even when it doesn't really fit or it like distorts the information.
Right, even when it's inappropriate. And the bottom line is, all these mechanisms, selective context, reinforced assumptions, tone bias, preference echo, they directly impact the quality and, crucially, the breadth of information you get back.
It really does build that personal digital echo chamber based purely on how you've talked to it before, making it harder to find genuinely new stuff.
Absolutely. It makes it harder to break out and get those fresh, maybe even challenging perspectives.
Okay, so this sounds a bit, well, problematic, but AI is still this amazing tool, right? We don't want to just ditch it.
No, not at all.
So, what can we actually do about it? We want to unleash its full potential. And thankfully, our source, Roberta, gives us some really practical strategies.
Yes, she does. And the core idea is really empowering. It's about crafting your prompts differently, using specific tactics to sort of nudge ChatGPT.
Nudgy how?
Nudge it to rely on fresh data, look for diverse viewpoints, instead of just echoing back its assumptions about you based on past chats.
Okay, so it's about taking back some control, guiding the AI more actively.
That's exactly it. It puts the control back in your court. So one really effective strategy is what we can call explicit neutrality.
Explicit neutrality, how does that work?
You basically tell it straight up. You might prompt it with something like, okay, list 3 perspectives on topic X, but avoid any assumptions about my previous views.
Ah, so you're explicitly telling it not to personalize based on the past.
Precisely. It forces the model to actively consider multiple sides, rather than just defaulting to what it thinks you want to hear.
That's smart, like hitting a reset button for that specific question.
Kind of, yeah. And speaking of resets, there's another related tactic, context reset.
Okay, context reset. Tell me more.
This is useful if you feel like you've been going back and forth for a while, and maybe the AI is getting stuck in the conversational weeds, relying too much on the tone or focus of your earlier chat.
Right, like the tone bias we talked about.
Exactly. So you could say something direct like, ignore our earlier chat tone, just give me the straight facts on topic Y, and please include citations.
I like that. Clear instructions. It helps clear out that echo chamber effect from the immediate conversation, right? Brings it back to neutral ground for that specific request.
It really does. And for digging deeper and checking reliability, source and uncertainty is a great one.
How would you prompt that?
You could ask. For each main claim you make, cite 2 reputable sources. And also, please flag any points where you're unsure or the information is debated.
Oh, that's really useful. It anchors the AI's answers to things you can actually check, verifiable data.
And it encourages a bit of humility from the AI, making it admit where its knowledge might be shaky, makes it more transparent about its own limits.
Yeah, that feels much more like using it as a research assistant, not just an answer machine. That's empowering. What else?
Well, for getting a balanced picture on complex issues, you can use counterfactual framing.
Counterfactual framing sounds complex.
It's actually pretty simple in practice. You're just asking it to argue against itself, essentially.
How?
You might ask, okay, on issue Z, what would the main critics likely argue?
Right.
And then follow up with, and what would the proponents say to counter that?
Ah, I see. So you're forcing it to present both sides of the argument, preventing just a one-sided take.
Exactly. It helps balance those opposing viewpoints, gives you a much rounder understanding.
Okay, that makes sense. Any others?
One more key one is data-first requests. This is great when you really need objective information. cutting through any potential stylistic bias.
So how would you phrase that?
Something like, based only on verifiable scientific studies, can you summarize the current state of research on topic Z?
Got it. So you're telling it to prioritize the evidence, the data,
Yeah.
over maybe trying to be witty or using a certain format just because you asked for it before.
Right. It puts the focus squarely on objective, fact-based information.
These are fantastic. So boiling it all down, what does this mean for you, listening right now?
Well, it means these strategies are basically tools in your toolkit.
Right. Tools that give you much more control over what the AI gives back, leading to richer, more varied information.
It shifts how you interact with AI. You move from just passively consuming whatever it spits out.
To actively guiding it, shaping the discovery process yourself,
Yeah.
making it more expansive.
It really underscores that the true power of AI isn't just in what it can do, but in your skill in guiding it effectively.
Yeah. If you understand a bit about how it learns, how it develops these patterns,
And you use these kinds of mindful prompting techniques.
you can really avoid those accidental limitations and get so much more out of it. So, here's something to think about as you continue to use these AI tools. As you engage with them more and more, how can intentionally breaking free from your own digital echo chamber using these kinds of strategies? How can that open up truly unexpected paths? Paths to new knowledge, new insights you wouldn't have found otherwise?
That's a great question to keep in mind.
Worth thinking about next time you type a prompt.